Joy and Becky. This is episode 20, and Becky's going to share her experience with us.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I just got done with, sorry, I'm still like vibing high today. Woo! So I just got finished with 3 mediumship sessions. I had one on Wednesday, and then I had 3 today. So a friend of mine connected me with this website, verysoul.com. And you can sign up to volunteer I'm not sure if there's like a charge for regular volunteers. I have a special code, which I'm not at liberty to share. But if you go on their website, they're practicing mediums who are getting to know their craft, really getting to get experiences. I guess because until you become like a professional, you don't want to go out there without having any practice with anybody. So, you can sign up to volunteer and sit with these mediums, and then they kind of, learn their skills and stuff with you. So it's kind of like a beginners, which is kind of my vibe anyway, because I like, I like things authentic and raw and real and not really rehearsed and stuff too. Although I'm sure that sorry, I got a text message. I'm sure that a professional medium, which I've had a professional psychic session before, which was wonderful, but I'm sure that those are wonderful as well. But just specifically on this site, sometimes they're professionals that come on and work with you. Today I did get a doctor who was a psychology professor in the past, and so it was really good. Oh my gosh. So I got a lot of cool stuff. I got to talk to Delores Cannon today a little bit, ask her a couple of questions. I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff. So I will go through some of it. But yeah, and Archangel Michael came in, which was really cool. So let's see. So the one that started the other day, they brought in a couple of family members. They brought in 3 of my great grandmothers who were kind of blended together, and she showed them like holding hands, kind of like that they were. And they said blended souls don't separate. They never leave each other. Something to that effect. So it was my great grandmother from my mother's mother, my father's my mother's mother's mother, my father's mother's mother, and my father's father's mother. If that makes so, my great grandparents, 3 of them. So I got an interesting reading from them. Let's see. So so what I do, because I didn't realize this, and one of them actually told me today, is that I might actually be a medium myself, which because they would say these things and I would get the image in my head, or I would have the image first and then they would say it. So I was telepathically communicating the questions that I wanted to ask so that I would know that it was more authentic. Because when you're doing these sessions, you're not supposed to talk. You just answer yes or no. If they ask you, does this sound right? Does this, is this along the lines? So I was telepathically asking the questions. And one of the questions, or one of the things when she started talking about my great grandmother, she was saying that she's in the kitchen, and I thought, and I actually wrote it down, chicken and dumplings, because that was my memory of that great grandmother. Was her in the kitchen making chicken and dumplings. I remember the hen in the pot. I remember, her house. I don't remember where it was. I don't remember how old I was. I just have this one memory of her. And this is my mother's grandmother, my mother's maternal grandmother, my grandma Steele. And so I just kept thinking chicken and dumplings. And then she started saying, there's a woman in the kitchen and she's holding a pot. And she's saying there's enough pots for everybody. Like there's enough to go around. So that was really cool. So I kind of got to connect. She was showing me she's got a passion for cooking. She loves being around, taking care of the family, that kind of thing. And then another one of my great grandmothers, my father's mother's mother, who passed away right before I was born, like probably right about a month before I was born. She piped up and she said, "I waited for you." So I know that she was trying to say, she didn't physically meet me, but she was waiting for me to come. So she and I had a connection, whether it was in the spiritual realm right before I came into the physical realm. So that was really cool when that popped up, or when she spoke up. And then she went back. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place just reading my little notes. She went back, and then my Nana Dansu, my dad's father's mother, who I have the most memories of, she came forward, and the medium was talking about, described her, that she had darker hair, that she was wearing glasses, that, what else? Let's see. Just messages of "I love you." But she was the one where I get a lot of my gypsy traits and lineage, and that strength, and that tenacity. And she was saying, she's been guiding me, that when I get a thought in my head, it's not a coincidence that she's there putting those thoughts in my head. And then she said that she saw her gardening, she saw her with roses, she saw her, all of these things with the natural world that I have recently gotten into, has been her, instilling that in me. And I think I've shared that before, that I feel like my my ancestors are behind me. They're definitely backing me on all of the stuff that I'm doing, and they're guiding me. And just to get confirmation on that was really cool. She's a pretty cool woman. She was ahead of her time. This is a woman that came over on the boat to Ellis Island in 1912, and was stuck at Ellis Island for 2 weeks because her father forgot her birth certificate, and she didn't speak a word of English. She spoke Romanian, and she was there by herself. I think she was like 14 years old. Could you imagine being all alone, having come over on a boat, and then being stuck basically in a holding area for 2 weeks? I mean, it's insane. But she came over here. She had so much strength, and I was very little, so I don't remember her, but I know her because I feel like she's so much a part of me. So that was really, really cool to me. So, and then of course, at the end of that first session, she said, "Well, you better come back and book again, because there's a guy here and he's tapping me on the shoulder." And I was like, "Oh, I know, that's my dad." So this morning, that was the first one that stepped forward. Well, the medium said this morning, she said that she saw an older woman and then a man. And she said that the older no, I'm sorry. The older woman. Hold on, let me see what the notes were. This was the first medium. Okay. The older woman. Oh, okay. That's right. Sorry.
Don't be sorry. You're fine. No worries.
Oh, okay. This is what it was. Okay. So the older woman who was standing kind of back, and then the man who came forward, and the man started. She started describing. She said that he was a joker. He loved telling jokes. He had a good sense of humor. That he had a sturdy build, with a strong voice. That she saw him, and he was like maybe 60, which my dad passed when he was 57. She said that she saw him playing on the ground with kids, which was, my dad was always playing. I remember, like, that's where my joking side, my fun side comes from, is with my dad. You know what I mean? Like, I play with my daughter. We get in tickle fights. I mean, we have so much fun, and that reminds me of my dad. It's like I'm channeling him when I'm doing that with my daughter. And so for him to show me that was pretty cool. And then she kept describing him, saying that there's a picture of him on wood, on like a wooden surface, and I have a picture of a couple of pictures of my dad right on a wooden table right there. Well, obviously most tables are made out of wood, but anyway, and most people have pictures. So I mean, that wasn't really definitive. But then after that, she asked me, does this sound right? And I was like, I don't know. It kind of does, but I'm not sure. And then she said that she saw him fishing, and it showed him like fishing. And I was like, that's my dad. My dad would come to my work on my lunch break, and he would wait for me to get out on my lunch break, and he'd be fishing behind my work. Like, he anywhere that I had a job, he would find a fishing hole, come visit me for lunch, bring me lunch, and go fishing. And then she said that she saw him on a nice big boat. He used to have one of those 3-tiered, several of them boats. And I mean, I've got a mahi that's like 4 foot long, hanging above my bed. That is a fiberglass model of the one that he caught. That he had for a long time. And even on his tombstone, it says "fishing on a higher tide."
That's awesome.
She said that she saw him in a hat. He was always wearing ball caps. But he was wearing a hat. He had a nice boat, cooler, and then she said that she saw like photos of him, like with fish and stuff like that. And then I was like, okay, it's kind of sounding like somebody. And then she said, okay, this guy's a jokester. He's showing me something. And she's like, I don't know if this is really an American thing. I don't know if she was in Canada or where she was from. This seems like a Canadian thing. She's like, he's showing me a Coors Light. And I'm like, I just started busting out laughing. Like, that was what my dad drank, like Coors Light. I even remember my husband saying, like, oh, your dad drinks Coors Light. Like, that's gross. Like, he would drink a lot of other beers, but that was like towards the end of his life. He was always drinking Coors Light. So, and then she said he saw him with a beer and a koozie. He's a fun-loving, outdoorsy guy. And then she showed him in a campsite on a lawn chair, showing the place that we used to go camping at a lot. She described it like pretty much to a T. And then he started talking to her about me, and saying that he was proud of me. That when I was a kid, he was like, "That's my girl. She's just like me." Just crazy, wild, wild child. Talked about me going to school, how I was so smart. I was active and a very, really fun kid. Cut from the same cloth, and a lot of what he said. So, and then she started bringing him into, or he started bringing her into, talking about my mother. And he basically said that he just wanted to give her a hug. He sees that she's, she feels lonely at times, that she struggles. My parents weren't together for 30 years before, they divorced when I was little. But, he still feels that regret. And he said that, that it didn't take him long to get that bird's eye view, to be able to look down and see, which was interesting to me, because I always wonder, when we pass, like, what is it like? What exactly is it like? So to hear, and I had this feeling like maybe he was stuck somewhere, or like, because the Catholics, they believe in this purgatory thing or whatever. So I worried that maybe he was stuck in like this purgatory, or, somewhere like that. But I know consciously that he's not, because he's very much with me. I mean, he's right here, this one. He's physically with me. I have his hair and my necklace. But he's also spiritually with me. And that, it gets really good at the end of that reading. So I'll get to that. But, so she, he was talking about my mom and stuff. And then she went into more of describing him. He has a big heart, big personality. But then she started talking about how he had a hard time being vulnerable, that he had this big personality, that he was kind of like, a lot of masculines are, like, they put on this show, like the false bravado, and they have a hard time getting in touch with their vulnerable side. And he said that on the other side, that he's grateful because I'm giving him the opportunity to work and change. And so that's interesting to me to hear, because I don't know, what happens on the other side, and as far as, what he's saying is that he's putting in an effort to change. He wants to become more sensitive. And that, in more sessions that I have with him when he comes, that, he is going to become more and more sensitive, and more vulnerable and more open, which is good for me, because, I see that as the divine masculine side, because I am, my family, my, I feel energetically that we're very tied in with divinity. And so I feel like he is a part of my husband as well. And so him changing himself on that side is assisting my husband, assisting your husband, assisting the divine masculine. So as they pass on and as they go on, as if they're changing and doing these things on the other side, then I believe, this is just my feelings, is that it's going to assist our situations here. So maybe that generation had to go through things so that they could go and learn that lesson, and then in the spiritual life change, so that the generation now has a better opportunity to become more vulnerable, to become more open, to get in touch with their feminine side. I think that's the issue, is the disconnect between the masculine and the feminine side. And I saw that a lot in my dad, is because he had this huge heart. And so do I. I mean, my dad taught me what unconditional love was. I couldn't fail. I could fail in life according to everybody else, and he might be disappointed, but he loved me no matter what. There was a disconnect. I didn't need his approval in order to get his love. Not a disconnect. There was a connect, where in other places there was a disconnect. Where validation and approval was love. As in regards to like my mom, getting her approval, getting her acceptance, getting her validation. That was her way of showing love. My dad, on the other hand, was the opposite. So he definitely had been in touch with that feminine side. I just don't think that he was aware of it. Um, so that was interesting. And then he went into talking about, that he's sitting down on the keys. He's got his beer in the koozie. He's sitting down at the beach house that we went down to when I was younger. She described it to a T, that it was a raised house. She didn't say where it was, but I knew exactly where it was. She said it was, up on stilts, up in the air. And he's just sitting there in a lawn chair with beer and a koozie and hanging out. And he said, anytime I want to come down there and see him, or anytime I want him to come up here, all I got to do is just reach out, and he's there. And then he talked about, and then the woman that I talked about in the beginning came forward. And this is where it got a little complicated, because the woman that came forward is not in the spirit world yet. She's on the verge. And I'll get into that on my last reading, because the medium that brought her through really got in depth. I mean, really in depth. It's starting to rain, so I might have to move a little bit here in a second, but I'm going to try to hold out a little bit. I know the earth needs water, but just open a spot. Just open a spot for me. So
Hi, Mary.
I know. So all right. I'm going to try to get the first one done, and then I'll move inside. So, all right. So then she brought in my grandmother. Hi, Mary. She brought in my grandmother, who is 93 tomorrow. I think 92 or 93. I don't want to get it wrong, but I believe it's 93 tomorrow. And she's had the thing. I don't want to say it. Twice now. She has had the thing, the thing. Yeah. And I'm noticing, I'm not there, but I've been hearing and I've noticed some disconnect mentally going on. Just comments that don't jive and things like that. And so this medium didn't really understand at first, and she said, I don't think this person is gone yet. Do you have someone that's in like a state of dementia, or someone having Alzheimer's? Because they can kind of go back and forth between the spirit realm and the living realm. And so when they're kind of on the verge, or they're in that state, they can go back and forth. And so that was interesting. And so what the message from my grandmother is that, there are no goodbyes, that, there's no need. Don't worry about, saying goodbye. Don't worry about any of that, like that they're always with us. So there's no like, oh, I forgot to, or I didn't get a chance to say goodbye. Don't worry about that kind of thing, because we don't leave each other. That's the thing. I think that was the message in that, is that we're still together. We're blended. We're together, in this incarnation, in this life. We might see different traits of these people in the people around us. Like I see my father and my husband, not in a weird way. That was weird for me at first, because I was like, oh, they say you marry your dad. In this case, like spiritually, I kind of did, but I think that's a good thing in a way. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they have a lot of the same characteristics and things like that. But I mean, I think that they have like a link to one another in a deeper sense, if that makes any sense. Like that, I don't know, the souls recycle, incarnate, like that they have a closer connection somehow. And then she ended it and she asked him to give me something big. And she said, the lights. Your dad is making the lights go on and off. And the last couple of nights, my daughter got we got these fairy lights on her treehouse, on her little swing set, and they're on the stay on mode. Like they're supposed to just stay on, and they stay on most of the time. But when I come outside, they start going on and off. They start flashing on and off. And I thought, okay, maybe it's when I turn the light on, maybe they're photosensitive and that they're picking up the light. So, but then I came out here and the light wasn't on and they started flashing. My husband said he came outside, they started flashing. They stay off all the time. They're on steady mode all the time. And then you come outside and they start flashing. And I'm going, what is going on with these lights? Well, she says, it's your dad with the lights. And the dogs are going all over the place. And then I asked the question because the dogs' collars are going off all the time. They have these electric collars, and there's a boundary. When they go towards the boundary, it beeps, and the dogs start barking because they don't want to get shocked. Well, the dogs will be in the bedroom, and all of a sudden it'll go off. And so I asked, are you messing with the dog's collars for some reason? And she said that he started snickering, and he was like, no, like, oops, like he doesn't mean to. And the spirits that are here don't mean to, but they set them off on accident. So like they'll be walking by and they'll get too close and it'll set the dog's collar off. So they're picking them up and the dogs go nuts. Like that's why my dogs are barking nonstop, crazy all the time, looking around, being like weirdos, because they're seeing them, they're sensing them, they're feeling them. And I'm yelling at the damn dog, shut up, what are you barking at, And meanwhile, it's my dad came to give me a hug, So that was pretty cool. And then she ended it by saying, is his name George? And I just burst into tears.
Yeah.
Like, you can't, how would she know that? You know what I mean? I don't give my personal information. These people don't know anything about me, personally, for her. I mean, George might be around, but she didn't say any other names. You know what I mean? She didn't pop off. Is it Joe? Is it Schmo? Is it, is it John? John would have been typical, you know what I mean? But George isn't exactly a typical name. And then to come up with that, right at the end, when she asked, let's wow her with something, and the lights, and it's George. So, all right, with that, let's take a 2-second break. For me, you can comment or talk while I'm moving.
I don't know. I could draw some cards with you.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Let's draw a little bit. I got a couple things here, so it might take me a second.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You're fine. Okay. No worries. But yeah, I think it's amazing. I'm gonna volunteer for this too. I just haven't done it yet. But I'm going to do that, and because I want to be more in my authenticity and stop watering myself down for people and stop changing who I am to make other people happy. And so I'm in this transitional period right now where I'm like really struggling to just be myself. And yeah, I'm being called to travel. Someone's gonna go traveling. I want to go move around.
I'm traveling at the moment.
Yeah, you are. Seriously, though.
All right, give me one more second.
No, you're fine. But this transition that I'm going through, I'm going to be honest with you. If y'all are going through this, I'm sorry. This is tough. You're all right. No worries. This came out of my reading this morning. The talent. Y'all are so talented. Your gifts are coming online. That's what I'm getting. And healing. And healing too. Talent, travel, and healing.
Stop fighting. No fighting. No fighting.
I love our lives. It's fun. We're always doing weird shit and
hey,
stuff.
You know what? We are definitely authentic because this is not professional.
You're my inspiration. No, we're
Ooh.
being inspired. I am being inspired right now. I was listening to a reading before I came on, and I got confirmation that I am officially under construction, and it's and I should be treated as such. Like, I'm under construction right now. I am holding space for myself so that I can heal. And this next week right now is about learning. And it's kind of funny because I heard that and I got that confirmation, but I had already been reading on Ascension Glossary, like just I just picked a couple things to read on, and I never looked
And
on
make
this
sure
web.
you use discernment too, because it's just like anything else. Some things resonate with me and some things don't. You know what I mean? It's just like when you're reading anything. So that's just
No,
something you
like I
know.
said, I was doing research on myself though. So I'm looking for myself, and I typed in indigo, and I was reading that, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm all of those things. Like every single thing that it was described on Ascension Glossary was, and there's three types. And I'm like, how can I be all three types? I'm watching your dogs too.
I know, me too. Well, you know what? We are quantum here, and so I think in this that we definitely embody a lot more than just one thing. You know, our bodies are miracles. I mean, the fact that we're even in them. You know?
Like
So,
it was really amazing. This really resonated with me. I shared it because I just right now, and then I got that reading and I was like, well, I'm already studying, because she was like, you're under construction, and right now is a time for you to be learning more knowledge, as well as on a spiritual level. So on emotional level, I'm healing on so many, like you said, on so many levels right now. It's very quantum, and it's all our energy, because we're energy, so I'm healing on many energetic levels right now, and I am under construction, and I've been saying that for like a week. Like, just back off, give me space. I don't want anyone around me. I don't want anyone else's energy on me. I want to just be by myself. And this very, and I know this is going to resonate with other people too, because we're a team. We come in as a team in waves. We're not here alone.
yes,
So
that's been one of the messages that I got today too.
it's that we're all here. Yeah, we're all here in waves. And so, right now, my particular wave is going within again, and I'm like, didn't I just do this? But we're doing it again. So I am to trust the universe, stand in my authenticity, stand in my boundaries, stand in my light, stop watering myself down, don't mask, stop pretending to be someone else. I pretend to be someone else when other people are around me. And that's part of my BPD, and it's a struggle. So I have to really work hard on that and not let other people manipulate me. So don't let people manipulate you, and you can feel it. Like on the inside, it feels ugly. It feels like a dirty feeling. I don't know how to describe it, but you can feel it. It's ugly. You can feel that it's an ugly feeling, and you just know your intuition's like, that's not right. Something's not right.
Well, that's the thing with being an empath and being connected with spirit and everything, is that we have this authenticity that's required of us, and when we're not authentic, there's a feeling of dread. There's a feeling of it just does not feel right. Like this does, and it eats you inside until you're authentic. And I think that's a motivator for us to become authentic, because there's a lot of people in this world that have no problem lying, my husband being one of them at times. Maybe he does, and I'm just not aware of it. But I do see people who lie, lie, lie. Every word out of their mouth is another lie. They're asking you to make lies for their lies, cover up for them. And when we tell a small lie, I get a cringe. I get this cringy feeling. I don't like to, just like I don't like to kill insects.
Love
I
you,
don't.
Mary.
Bye.
You too.
Um, uh, sorry, I'm clicking on the thing. How do I get it off the screen? I
It'll
don't know.
go away. I don't even click. I just let it fade
Okay.
away.
Yeah, no, I accidentally clicked on it and now all of them came up. Um, okay, there's a little, no, all right, I'll just, hopefully it'll, all right, bye. Um,
Yeah, but
thank you for being here.
yeah,
Um,
stand in our authenticity. Yeah,
yeah,
don't watering
yeah,
ourselves down.
Anyway, yeah, lost all that. But
That's
yeah, but you have to be authentic at this point. It's not because we want to, it's because we don't have another choice.
we need
The choice is to feel uh, disgusting inside or to be real, authentic, honest, true.
exactly.
Because it's we do have that choice in a way, if that makes any sense. I'm not saying we don't have a choice, but the choices are yuck or beauty. So, it might feel a little uncomfortable getting to this beautiful, peaceful, harmonious life. But once we break away from um, all of that, all of that old world, all that old paradigm, all of that old
Energy.
living, all that old thinking, that survival mode, once we break away from that survival and we become our authentic selves, it feels like clarity. Um, I don't tell small lies, and when I do tell small lies, I immediately go back and fix it because I don't want to sit with that feeling. Um, that's part of my shadow work. My shadow work is so deep that you know it's the
And
little things. What
oppression, isn't oppression where you're not
suppression?
speaking?
Suppression?
No, like when you don't tell the truth, like when you don't say it. You're not lying, but you just keep it the information from them.
Omitting.
Omitting.
Yeah,
That's omission. That's what I was trying to think of.
lies by
That
omission. Mhm,
that's lying and that's not standing in your truth too. And
yeah.
I do that a lot.
Mhm.
I'm
Well,
guilty.
yeah, we have to speak up. We have to speak up for ourselves. We have to put ourselves first. We have to become important. Like even with you last night when you said that you needed to talk, I was like, if you need to talk instead of doing the podcast, then you come first. Because you know because we have to take care of ourselves. And I could sense that you were like, you know what I mean? Because you're not used to putting you first. And it's like, I love our listeners. I love the people that are here for, that we're here for, that are here for us. But if we are not in a healed mode, I don't want to transfer that to other people. You know what I mean? If we're going through the healing, that's fine. But if you need to vomit it and get it out and talk about things, let's do that off camera and then come back and talk about how we went through it. You know what I mean? Like you're first because essentially we can use that in a way to help other people as well. You know what I mean? But I don't want to be spewing negativity on other people. Um,
Don't.
you know what I mean? But if it's just one on one, you know what I mean, in a healing environment, then that's different. You know what I mean? Because we do need to express ourselves in a safe place where it's not going to be
Like for me,
unprotected.
like
You know?
for me, I need to be accountable to somebody. And no offense, but there's not many people on the same level as me that can hold me accountable, that can see everything. Like you can see me on a multi-dimensional, you can see me as a multi-dimensional person and human being and entity.
Yeah.
And most
Well, and that's
people,
hard because we can't get a therapist who's going to, you know what I mean? Like you have to get a quantum therapy session
well,
with
that's what
or
we
get
are.
a medium, like that's what I'm doing. Yeah, getting a medium session because it's like I'm going through
3333.
therapy. What? Oh, three three
I
three.
just saw
Oh,
30,
and it's
30.
3:33 on the clock. Well, it was a second ago. Now it's 3:34 and 3:34 on here. Yeah. So,
That was confirmation enough for me to know that that's where we're headed, or that's where
yeah.
I'm headed, because
That's funny because I
we,
wrote down 111 and 222 and 234. I got
I,
two.
I'm
That was
like,
during this session 234, and then the session before that it was 111. So
yeah,
and she mentioned that.
like that is where I'm headed. I know that
Oh,
at
and I saw
least
1010.
in some way, yeah, in some way, shape, or form, that's where I'm headed, where I'll be able to, because I can sense. I did drug and alcohol counselor. I went to school for that. I was an AA sponsor. I understand counseling and psychology because I've taken psychology in college too. So it's like, not a lot. Like I'm not a freaking doctor or anything. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
pretty basic information, conditioning and that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, I have this spirit. It's spiritual, emotional, in a 3D way. My dog's stretching and moving my stuff. But
So anyway,
that's not.
I
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I do that a lot. Sorry. Um, I just wanted to get into the rest of this real quick.
Yeah.
So I want to skip to the last one that I did and then go back to the one and save that for last because that one was the one that like was mind blowing.
Okay.
And I didn't write a lot of that down because it was just like I was experiencing it. You know, the other ones I wrote everything down. So I think I'll have more of a authentic translation of that. But so the last one that we did, she had a really hard time connecting. She came in saying, you know, I had trouble connecting earlier, so I don't know how this is going to go. And so when the session started, I just, you know, started giving her Reiki. So, you know, that's just the way I work is, you know, I'm going to heal everybody that comes in contact with me. Um, you know, so I told her afterwards. So she said, thank you. You know what I mean? Had she not been consenting, she would not have been uh, accepting it. If you know what I mean, if she was not consenting to it, then it would have just waited until she was
Received it.
to it. Yeah. So we can send Reiki to whoever we want. You know, and if you want to ask for consent, then that's fine. If you don't have their consent and they don't want it, it's just not going to do anything. It
Okay.
doesn't harm someone to send them Reiki. All it is life force energy. It's love. It's vibration. You know what I mean? You're helping people, and it's coming from the heart, which is what one of the things that I got. So, but this the last session that I had, she had a really hard time connecting. She started describing my grandmother, who we talked about earlier, who was coming through with the little bit of dementia or, you know, in and out. Which to me, you know, I understand that because when my grandfather was going, when he was about to transition, he was seeing spirits. He was seeing, he kept yelling at all the people to keep it down because they were having a party and he wanted them to be quiet. You know, he was yelling at kids that weren't there. So he was seeing these things on the other side while he was still in the physical world. So I know that, you know, when you're close or when you're in that state, and also dementia you can go in and out in your mind. Um, so, you know, she started describing my grandmother to a T. She said that she's a woman of faith. I mean, my grandmother would go to church every single day, 9 o'clock mass, does the rosary. I mean, she's, you know, she would say Jesus didn't come down to earth to die on the cross so that you could stay home on Sundays. You know, that was a lot of what I was raised with. And so she's a very faithful woman, very, very loves her faith, loves her family. Um, and so when the medium started talking about my grandmother, she said, and she didn't understand any of this. She said it's like she has a checklist. She's talking about Easter. Easter is very important. She's got this checklist. She wants to make ambrosia salad. She wants to go to church. She's very overwhelmed. Oh no, the medium said that she feels very overwhelmed. But she wants to make sure that there's plenty of food. She's busy, 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 very particular about everything, trying to get everything organized. And then she's writing all these things down on lists. And to me, that signifies that she's having problems with her memory. She's having problems staying in the physical realm, but she wants to stay busy because she knows that even at 92, 93 years old, that if she wills herself, that she will continue to move. You know, if she keeps moving, she's going to keep moving because we do have that power. She's not ready. She's not ready to go. And so she's keeping herself busy. And so the medium is going through this list that's literally going on in my grandmother's head, and I can sense it because I can see these things at the same moment that the medium is bringing them up, which was interesting to me because, you know, like I get these visions and I imagine when I think about somebody, it's like I don't know if it's like remote viewing that I'm doing, but I'll think about my grandma and automatically I'm in her living room. I'll think about somebody and it's like I go there, and I don't believe it, so it doesn't, you know, it doesn't follow through. It's my belief that kind of manifests it, and so when I stop believing, when I'm like, oh, that's crazy, you know, then it turns off. So I'm like shutting it out. So I have to start accepting and believing um, the things that I'm seeing. So when she's telling me these things, I'm getting the messages of what she's seeing as she's seeing them. So she's telling me these things. She's seeing it in her head, or hearing these words or whatever. This particular one just saw visions, and she was translating what those visions looked like to me. So as she was telling me what these were, I was getting the same visions in my head. And so she's going through this checklist of all these things that my grandma's got to do. And then it harks back to my grandmother looking back in the car, and she's got a car full of kids. She's got tons of kids. And my grandma had 6 kids. I mean, I just got an image of my grandmother with like a station wagon full of
Yes.
kids, you know?
Uh-huh.
Um, and the medium was like, man, I wish I had her energy. She's just go, 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 go. My grandmother was. I mean, and she still is. You know, she's like, I gotta volunteer at this elderly home when she was younger, and then when she got older, she herself was elderly, going to volunteer to play the piano for other elderly people. She went to church almost every day. Um, she still is working in my aunt's office. I don't know if she still currently is, but I know that into her 90s, she's still, working every day, or not every day, but a couple days. She's got a schedule, she has her hair appointment a certain day. She's got this, she's got that, she's very scheduled. And even when she's sitting and watching TV, she's folding clothes, she's doing something. She's not stopping. It's constantly, I've got to take care of my family. I got to be here for them. I got so much going on. I got so much to do. And that is my grandmother. And that's what the medium was describing. And she's like, man, I wish I could, like, I got to take a breather, because it's just so much energy, just so constantly go, 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 go. And it makes me have gratitude. It makes me stop back or sit back and want to thank my grandmother, because she has put in so much work into this life, so much love and passion into her family, and so much devotion, that she hasn't even stopped to think about herself. And in a way, that's kind of what we're trying to work against, doing all of those things, but continuing to take care of ourselves. And so that's something that in our generation that we're healing, is that yes, you can love and devote yourself to your family, but at the same time love and devote yourself to
Yeah.
yourself. And so that's something that was out of balance in her generation. That's something that was out of balance in our parents' generation. But in our generation, we're learning to change that so that we can be in balance. Because if we don't put ourselves first, we're going to go, 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 and never sit down and stop. But I'm still grateful, and that's what has driven my grandmother. That's why she's kicking and, still going strong. So, all right. And then she started talking about the list on the fridge, magnets on the fridge. I got a vision of my grandmother's fridge with, I don't know what it currently looks like, but I got a vision of her fridge with magnets with a list on the fridge. I'm guessing that that's probably accurate. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then she started saying, this is really weird because I'm walking through a funeral. I've never seen anything where they've shown me a funeral. Where like, and she started describing everything, and she's like, this is really strange. And then she started talking about that she just saw a woman wiping her face, and then seeing everybody really struggling, and then she wants everybody to remember her a certain way. And then she showed her gravestone. She wanted it a certain way. And I said, this is clearly, and then she said, and then there's a disconnect where she wants to go back to the work, 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 busy, 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 keeping herself busy, because she doesn't want to associate. She wants to separate the funeral, the death part. She doesn't want to go there. And I said, when I finally did explain to the medium what she was seeing, what she was experiencing, she's experiencing somebody that doesn't want to transition, somebody that's on the brink and could, but is working herself into life, that is manifesting more life, that is creating more life for herself. And she's doing it in the way that she knows how, through her faith, through her prayers, through her manifestations, writing things down. She's creating more life for herself, planning her next meal, planning her next party, planning her next event. It's sustaining her. It's making her life continue. And so that's her working her magic, whether she's aware of it or not. That's what's keeping her going.
Yeah.
She's keeping herself going. She does not want to think about her death. It comes up because she knows, she's aware, but it comes up, and she does not want to think about it because she doesn't want to manifest it. And as far as what I'm feeling, this is not me having a conversation with my grandma. I've called her, but she's not able to communicate very well at the moment. Or I don't know if she's just trying to hide it and doesn't want me to know, or doesn't want people to know. But, tomorrow's her birthday, so I will give her a call. But I've noticed, she's made some strange Facebook messages occasionally. She'll post on certain things, but it's just not the same. You know what I mean? I definitely sense a different feeling in her that, maybe she's drawing away because she doesn't want anybody to know that she's having a hard time because she's worked so hard her whole life. She doesn't want anybody to remember her that way. And I can understand that. If I was this strong woman, I wouldn't want anybody to see me frail, you
But
know?
also, they don't want to be burdens.
Yeah,
You know,
that was
like
part of it. If she doesn't wanna step up, that was the thing, is that she's this woman and she doesn't really wanna step up and speak up for herself. But she wants you to know that, that she loves you and that there are no goodbyes, we'll be here. And,
yeah, exactly.
the last message that I got was that she loves me and she's with me, whether she's physically with me, whether she's not physically with me, I know, and I've been feeling it, and it's sad to think about because, even though she's in her 90s, I love my grandma. She was like a second mom to me. She she and I used to bond. I would go to her house, just me and her. She had 13 other grandkids or 14 or 12 other grandkids, but I would show up at her house and we'd have dinner once a week and I would just ask her about her life. You know what I mean? We would sit down and I would talk and say, "Tell me stories about you growing up. Tell me stories about this. Tell me stories about that." And we really enjoyed each other. We had this bond, or we still have this bond. That, is not able to be dislocated, it's not going to go away. And so she's a big part of me. And so I feel her. And I do worry, I'll get a feeling like it's today. Am I going to get the phone call today? Because I do get little flashes. They're like, oh, something's going on. And then I'm like, okay, I didn't hear anything, so it's all right, or I'll call and whatever. But I have been kind of pulling away because I know that it's coming near, and maybe that's not necessarily what I want to do. It's just maybe I'm coming from a place of fear and a fear of loss. And so, I think that this has really shown me that it's okay to reach out, that, to stop separating myself from it. And then I don't have to reach out in the physical form. I can still reach out in, in my head. Not to
Yeah.
sound like a crazy person, but
No,
if I'm thinking
'cause
about somebody.
I went through that with my mother. My mother, this is before I woke up. So unfortunately, when my mother and father transitioned, I was their caregiver, but I didn't understand how multidimensional we are. I didn't understand that we don't die. And I didn't understand that they could go back and forth while they're in the state of incubation, I guess you want to call it. Where they're not all there, but I had to go through that with my mom where she had lost the ability to swallow. So it was a really horrible thing to go through, especially because she did not want artificial life and she did not want artificial tubes, no artificial feeding. And that was fucking really difficult. So for me, I know that that's not how I'm going to do it, because that was tough. But understanding that they are going back and forth between this world and the next, and that makes me feel so much comfortable and so much better because I know that she wasn't there the whole time. And that made me like, oh, that was like a relief knowing that she wasn't stuck in that stupid body because the body was so strong and it was holding on. And the nurses were like, I don't know how she's still here, but she's still here, and so because of that, and it's hard like not to cry. Like I've literally have had done so much healing to just be able to talk about it and not cry. It's been very difficult, because I did not have family, and I was alone. And now that I know that she's not mad at me, that she doesn't have any hard feelings, how I handled it. You know what I mean? Like I know that it's all good. It's all good. There's no more regrets,
Yeah. Well,
I'm and that's
that's the thing that feels good is that it's like all of those things come to be resolved at the end. It's like I can visualize when she was talking about, my dad and when he was like in the bird's eye view and he was like doing an analysis of what he could have done differently. It's we kind of like when you take a test and then you get at the end you review. You know what I mean? Like you're reviewing everything, seeing where you made your mistakes, seeing where you could have done things differently. See, you know what I mean? And then you have an opportunity to take the test again, but with the answers.
different,
you know, like you
different
get to take the test again next to the test at the end. So, it's kind of cool. So
and
at
now
least that's just how I'm envisioning it.
yeah, no, and now I can help people that are going through that with an understanding, with that understanding that they're not always there, that they are multidimensional, and that we can tap into their energy and get answers from them. I have an innate ability to tap into and mediumship and channeling, and I'm just now starting to just do it every single day, and so I'm picking up messages every day now. I don't want to stop. I want to just continue doing that, and that's what I'm being guided to do because um people need it. People need it. People are going through like what you're going through,
Well, I
and
mean,
all.
before I started these sessions, I didn't really have any idea. I was like, well, I'm in the living world. What do I need to mess with that for? I like what is the point of that? And now I realize, when I sense something, when I feel like, oh, somebody's there, like it's not something to be afraid of. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going through this. It's real, but it's not scary, if that makes sense. Like we see all these things on TV and all these ghost things and my thing is if you're a ghost hunter, why are you going in a building going, show yourself, like tap on the wall. Ah! You know, if you're really do you know what I'm saying? Like if you're really doing this for a living, why are you scared every time they respond?
You don't.
Um, if it's real, why are you terrified? I mean, it's just theatrics. For me, here's my doggy. For me, when something goes off, I'm like now I'm with gratitude, and after my first session, I knew the lights were my dad. I was in the hot tub the other night, a night before last, and I was like, I kept getting these messages, like these telepathic messages. They were talking to me after the session, and like I kept looking over at, or I was in the hot tub, the lights would flash. And I was like, Dad, if that's you, flash the lights this amount of times. And then the lights would flash. I said, all right, now stop them. And then they would stop. And I was like, no, it can't be.
It
It
is
can't,
the
I'm like, it can't be. It can't be. And I'm sure my husband will come home and, oh, those lights are faulty. Something's wrong with them. You know what I mean? Because he's so in the physical world. He can't deal with that. But yeah, and that's funny. So this leads me into the middle session that I had today, the one that was the most powerful, that
yeah.
that is like the game changer for me. Um one of the questions that I asked, and this was towards the end, one of the questions I asked is my husband gonna wake up? And you know what she said? She said, Archangel Michael is pointing at his heart and they're all singing. Listen to your heart.
Oh my god. Oh shit. I would cry too. Don't do it. You're gonna make me cry too. I'm so happy for you. I don't know.
And
I
I didn't ask her this medium. I didn't ask her any questions out loud. I asked Archangel Michael. I asked Delores Cannon. I asked my dad, who were all in the session at different times, and I'll go into that. But I asked them telepathically the questions, and then she answered. So she said that she is a trans channel, that she is a medium, she was a doctor of physiology or psychology or something with, I don't know, but really cool. I loved her energy.
irrelevant. Irrelevant.
What? Yeah, no, that's yeah,
Irrelevant.
none of that matters. But it was really cool to me because I was like, whoa, like she was a professional one. She wasn't one of these training
Yeah,
ones.
she was a
She
physical
could,
mind doctor. That's
yeah,
important.
like
They
she came in.
understand.
And
College.
the other mediums were like, okay, I'm going to preface this with this, and we're going to do it this way, blah, blah. She comes in and she goes, all right, we're going to get quiet and we're going to connect. Like, that's it. Like, all right, here we go. Doctor, yeah, philosophy.
I can do that.
She's like, we're going to get quiet and we're going to, sorry, I got distracted. My daughter's coming in. Okay. Getting something to play with. Her handcuffs. Anyway, all right. So, let me take a breath because this was intense. Love you, Charles. Love you. All right.
I guess that's a question I can ask too when I do mine. That's a good one.
Okay. Which one? What question? Is your husband gonna wake up? That one?
I can't go into that because everyone gets mad at me when I talk about my personal life on here. So.
Oh, okay. Well, do they even pay attention to it? I get people that tell me that they watch the show. Like my mother says, "Oh, I watch your podcast." I don't think she actually does. I think she. I don't want
anyone to think I'm like bad talking either. So like if I'm talking, then they're gonna assume that it's bad always. Oh. They never assume it's good. So.
All right. So on to another subject. So, so this medium, she was definitely a professional. She does this professionally, and I was very lucky to get her. Because with the website, you never know who. You see a name pop up. Sometimes it's a full name. Sometimes it's just the first name and the first letter of the last name, and you don't know anything about these people. They don't know anything about you. It's all very professional and anonymous. So you go on and or I signed on to Zoom, and she comes in and she's like, all right, we're going to get right into it. I'm going to take a few minutes or a few seconds to just connect. And then we get right into it. And she was like, whoa, somebody just flew in here on a golden light. And I've never had any experience like this before. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay. Like, I'm just sitting here like, okay, because you're not supposed to say yes or no or whatever. But this one, it was a lot different, but we started out with the, you're not supposed to say yes or no stuff at the beginning. And she goes, this woman, she flew in on a golden light, and I'm getting a name, Delores. Do you know anybody named Delores? I said, no. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, cause I'm coming in from this thinking that it's going to be a family member. You know what I mean? I'm coming into this thinking like, okay, maybe it's my grandma, my nana, maybe it's, my great grandfather, going to come in. And she says, yeah, do you know a Delores? I'm like, no, I don't. And it says that, showed her in her 60s. And then it showed her out in the yard playing with dogs, and something about she had many dogs. I don't know if Delores Cannon had any dogs. I don't know anything about her personally. I've just seen her, her material and her things on social media and on YouTube and things like that. So I just know her from that. I don't know anything about her personal life. So I'm sitting there going, I don't know what you're talking about, who you're talking about. And she says, okay, well, let's just take a break from that. And there's another man here, and she brings my dad back in, and she says, the name Dan mean anything to you? And my maiden name starts with D-A-N, Dan, and then it's Romanian. So she's like, I don't know how to say it, but it's something with Dan, Daniel or Dan. And I was like, okay, that relates. He said crossed, like he looks like he's 60 years old. So again, with this, looks like he's about 60 because my dad had cancer when he passed. So he aged overnight, he's 57, but, she's a very sweet person, and then telepathically I started getting these messages, and I knew it was my dad coming in and stuff. And, she said his facial hair, and she started describing him and everything. And so I knew it was my dad coming in. And she said that this woman kept coming back in and that she wanted to talk. So I said, all right, she just kept getting this energy. My dad was still there. She said it was a golden lady, very high vibrational energy. And that she wants to help me. The golden light woman. And she kept saying, I've never seen a soul enter like this. I've never seen a soul like this. Like she just flew in here on a golden light, like just sparkling golden light everywhere, just flew in. And that she knows that I'm a medium, and that I have these spiritual powers, that I have these abilities, and she wants to help me with them. That she's on my spirit team, and that she's backing me, that she's helping me, whether it's, whatever it is, that she wants to help me build that confidence. She wants to show me these things. And I absolutely believe that. So when she started talking about that, okay, so I didn't know who it was yet. She's just explaining all of these things and about wanting to help me and all of that. So we still didn't put it together, that it was Delores Cannon. And then she says that she showed a rose. She said that you have to come from a place of love, and that magic is real. Don't be afraid of magic. And then all of a sudden she said, do you know anything about Delores Cannon? And I started like hysterical. I was like, oh my God, that's who that is. I was like, that's who you're talking about. Like, she just popped out. She's like, it's Delores Cannon. And I was like, yeah. And then I saw Delores Cannon sitting laughing in my mind. Like, I just saw her and she kept popping up and laughing. And I don't know if you can see it right now, but I just see her sitting in a chair just with her curly hair, like just laughing. And she started describing her. Well, I don't know, because I didn't write a lot of this down. I think she started describing what she looked like, and and we just started connecting, and I was like, okay, this is going way beyond a regular mediumship thing, because I was expecting that I was going to get a family member, or someone that I knew that had passed on or something. And here comes Delores Cannon to tell me that my work is real and that I should believe in magic. And I'm like, okay, let me take a breath. Like, you're here for me? Like, for me. Like, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, it's so self-deprecating all the time. I'm like, in so much doubt and fear, and like afraid of my power and afraid of who I truly am. And I'm like, why would she be here for me? But then it's like, why she's here for you. I know who I am. I know how powerful I am. And so it said, and then I started asking a couple of questions, asking about my light language and whether she's been helping me with it. And she went like this, like, she said, I can't take all the credit because there's a spirit team behind you that is coming from your spirit team, that she doesn't want to say yes, she doesn't want to say no. And these questions I asked in my head. I didn't ask this out loud about my light language. And these are the answers that I got. Is she can't take full credit for it, that it's coming from the spirit teams. So this is us just being silent, and then she answers my questions. And she said, the spirit team. Okay, so she started talking about the spirit team, and she said that Archangel Michael was here, that he came in. When she started talking about the spirit team, she said that he was like 10 foot tall, and that he was there. And Archangel Michael is my soul family. I mean, I am related to Michael. We've talked about Michael. He is so much a part of me, and I'm a part of him, that it's hard to see the separation for me. And that's not something that I want to go into on here just yet, because it's something that I'm just learning and coming to terms with on my own. I got a little distraction. You want to say hi? No, she doesn't want to say hi. All right, what's going on? I got to finish up here. I'll just be a few minutes. Okay, go ahead. And she can't play? Could she come over here? Or is she not home?
And the neighbor will go into the grandparents' house.
Okay, well, just give me a few more minutes. I'm almost done. Here, okay?
Nobody to play with.
Well, how about we go do something? Just me and you.
What?
Something fun.
Well,
But get a snack, and then I'll finish up here because I'm almost done, okay? Sorry about that. we're real here.
Yeah.
So normally we record when my daughter's at school so that we don't have to worry about competing energies.
Exactly.
But today I had these special things going on, so we're trying to kind of get it in here impromptu, and because I'm very excited to talk about all this stuff, but and I hope that everybody's excited to hear it. So anyway, all right. So she said that Archangel Michael came in, that he is coming in as a group, that he's not just one being, he is a group. And when she said that, it was confirmation for me, because my experience with him was hands upon hands upon hands holding my belly, and hands upon hands, making things transpire, that healing and birthing. We've talked about that before, but and so I asked for, and I'm still insecure about talking about that, and I'm getting kind of the urge that I shouldn't be insecure talking about it, because I did get confirmation. And so the question that I asked her after that in my mind, telepathically again, was my experience real with with the sun, with feeling like I was being impregnated by the sun? And I'm just going to say it. I was taking a nap one day in the sun, and I had this feeling like the sun was filling my belly. And I went inside, I laid down, I went through a physical birthing process. Nothing happened. There was no nothing, but I went through this and I thought I was insane. And so I asked him and Delores, what was that? What is that about? And and I'm asking this in my head, and she said, all of these little children are coming forward, all these little spirit children. And she says, do you work with children? Do you know anything about children? And I was like, oh my God, I just, like, I'm in tears. And I'm like, I don't understand how any of this works. I don't understand about this process and what my role is here, but I understand a little bit. I know what I've been through. I know my experiences, and I know that, that maybe I'm a vessel in some way, or that I don't, they're saying to say I am a vessel. And I'm a vessel for the divine, for the angelics, they have to be born. I'm going to get really serious here. They have to be born, and not through the physical world, but through a divine portal. And that there are beings in this world who are those divine portals. And I am one of them. And that's scary to say out loud, because
well, you can always
there's so much fear.
on Ascension Glossary. I'm sure it's on there.
What?
You can look up too for confirmation. I wouldn't go, like, you can go there for research too, but I also was going for confirmation too. And that's something that I was interested in as well, that what resonated with me. And I don't know the difference between the hybrid program, where women have been taken and impregnated and then their babies taken later, right? Before birth. And that's been documented. And I don't know the difference. So, I mean, that's just something that we can definitely look into. Or
well, when they talk about, if you look at Lilith and I think it's Azazel, Lilith and Azazel and the demon seed, I don't want to get too dark here, but it's the opposite. And so that's the message that I'm getting from this situation that I've been through, is that my job as a divine portal is to bring in those angelics, to birth those angelics, because I'm not just birthing, because if you look that up, they're birthing the demon to fight in this spiritual war that we are in. And so there has to be light to fight the dark, light to balance. And so I was activated. I was woken up because it got too dark. You were woken up because it got too dark, and it activated our light. It got dark to the point. And honestly, the whole thing that happened, the virus, I don't want to get into things, that triggered a lot of awakening in a lot of people, because it got so dark that we had to wake up, that it forced us to wake up, because there has to be a balance. There's divinity going on here that is fighting on both sides, and I you got dark entities and light entities. And so there's a balance, and there's a scale that's going off. And so I absolutely know in my heart that my experience was that, you know, about angelics, about birthing angelics and creating a new force, you know, a more light, creating more light in this world. I know that I am light. I know that I've been to the light. I've come through the light. If you haven't watched our near-death experience episode, that's one to talk about, because I've seen the light. I've been in it. I know what it is. I felt it. I know it. It's part of me. It's part of all of us. It's real, you know. And I think my experience from all of this is just to know that it's real. You know, that's what they wanted to confirm for me today, is that it's real. This is real. That all the things that I think I'm crazy for, saying, thinking, doing, that it's real. That I'm not just going through motions. I'm actually doing things. And so another message that I got from Michael was trust your intuition. Trust your intuition. And then the last question that I asked was, after all the energetic grid work that I did in the last week or so, you know, because I've been working on clearing the grid and resetting and, you know, harnessing that energy for good, inverting the inversions, you know, flipping the script. I've been working on flipping the script. I asked if there's anything else that I need to do. And she said, you know, and I'm asking this telepathically again. She said, I see Delores with stars over her head and out in nature, happy in water. And she said, water is healing. And she said, it's not a pool, but it's water outside. And there's stars above your head. And she said, I don't know how you're related to Delores Cannon. I don't know how she's connected to you, but there's some kind of connection there that, you know, that there's connection. Like we're connected in some way. And the fact that she's seeing her, but in my hot tub with stars over her head, but it's me, but her, you know what I mean? Tells me that there is a connection there. And so that was like really interesting to me. And I do see myself, you know, I think it's in, I don't know if it's in the Nag Hammadi or Revelation, something where it talks about the stars over the divine. I don't want to quote it wrong, but like there's, yeah, but something, so look it up. Something about, I think the stars over the divine goddess, or the something, I can't remember. But anyway, so that's the answer that I got, is that I need to sit back, relax. That's what she said. You need to sit back and relax. And I was like, so I need to get in the hot tub. I need to go and watch the stars, and I need to sit back and relax. So basically my work is done. They're proud of me. They know what I've done. I was urged to do this energetic clearing all over the world with my artwork in the last couple of weeks, and that it's successful. Just like when I cleared the guide stones, that my work was successful. And it's like I need to have more faith in myself, believe in myself. I believe in myself. I am believing in me. And that's been my issue, is my doubt in myself that keeps me small. And so I have to continue to have these experiences as confirmations to give me more strength, to see that this is real, to see that this is true, that these things are happening, and they're happening on a multidimensional level. You know, that this is all real, you know, and that we're not crazy. Maybe we are, but we're not, you know. And that was what I finished with the last medium was, you know, crazy people don't go around going, am I crazy? Was that a crazy thought? They just go about their crazy business. Do you see somebody? I mean, I'm not judging. I'm just saying, when you see someone that's walking down the road that's not okay, and they're talking to themselves, they're not asking themselves if they're okay. They're just going about their business. They're just gone. They're wherever they are, you know. And there are some people that are, unfortunately, or you know, maybe that's, I'm not one to judge. I don't want to say unfortunately. There are some people that are in situations that I don't understand. But they don't ask themselves, am I crazy? They just go forward with their actions, and they do them, whether they be crazy or normal or whatever, they just do them. But people who are going through what we're going through, we're constantly saying, That was crazy. That was crazy. That was crazy. No, that's crazy. That's
Because
crazy.
of our conditioning, we've been.
That's conditioning. Exactly. That it's not crazy. It's that it's not what you're taught. It's that this is not compared to the world that you're living in. It is crazy, but that world is actually the crazy. So I want to strike that word from the record. I want to change its meaning. I'm going to give it some new energy. Crazy for life. I'm crazy for love. I am crazy in love with my life. And I'm changing the intention.
Yeah, right here.
Here. I'm changing the intention of that word for me. I'm crazy in love with my life. Yes.
It
So
says
that completes my analysis of my daily adventure. So I know we're almost at 77 here. That's our lucky number, apparently.
Yeah. So yeah, this is Mi Vida Loca, my crazy life. That's what that means. So just so when you're saying that, and I have it on me literally for life, my crazy life, Mi Vida Loca. And
now I'm getting Ricky Martin playing in my head. Living la vida loca.
I know it's all a good one, but yeah,
Sorry,
that
guys, you had to hear me sing.
That was 1999, I'm sure. But yeah, anyways, so I drew some cards while we were, chilling. And so to wrap it up, I got the Six of Swords, the Five of Swords, and the Five of Wands, which is a lot of battling, a lot of self-doubt, a lot of self-limiting beliefs. This one is basically taking what I can and leaving. That's what it says.
Take what I can and leave the rest.
This one is like defensive, being super defensive. And like really like the Five of Swords, really being in your head and just overthinking things, maybe being a little selfish. That comes across in the card too. So I feel like a lot of us are breaking through so much, like you were talking about, past 3Ds, past selves, old limiting beliefs, old ways of being, old ways of thinking, and we're getting rid of it. And that way we can get into, like you said, having stars over our head, being out in nature. I mean, even the water is in this card. So that just, it really, and the star over the head.
My God. Yeah.
Like, I'm just seeing that now, but oh my God, that's like stars over the head with the water. It's definitely the star card. And then I got the Lovers card and I got the Judgment card. And we're basically just use discernment. I have to cover naked people. Sorry. So I have little things on there. But and on the Lovers card too. See,
are those not allowed on YouTube or something?
Those are new rules. Sorry. But yeah, so
you have to abide by the rules for now.
Let go of the old things. Let the old things go. Don't hold on to them. If they want to leave, let it leave. That way, all this other goodness stuff is coming in. Look at this union. Reunion or union. It's either union or reunion. And not everybody's a twin. Not everybody says they're a twin. There is a twin. That's just really, really. It's labeled.
That's the message that I got when I first woke up was that, and it's so weird and it's hard for me to kind of weed it out, if this makes any sense, but that the male and females are reversed and are kind of like this, but then go like that. So like my daughter and my husband are connected, like my father and I am connected, but also I'm connected to my husband, and then I don't know if it's my stepson, but then there will be another for my daughter. You know what I mean? Like we're all connected to each other in some way. I don't know how to explain this. It's true. It's not sounding right.
No, it's because we have been basically leapfrogging through time with each other, and these are the people that we have been leapfrogging through time with. Sorry,
but it's like we're I don't know how to do my fingers, like we're crossed, like it's like a cross, and we're going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, like the DNA, like it's going like DNA.
Our DNA, they're a part of us.
Yeah. That's like I'm gonna draw what I'm talking about because I can't explain it.
No problem. Hold on, I gotta let my doggy outside.
And you know what's funny? Now that I'm drawing this, it just reminds me of the Kundalini rising. It just reminds me of. Oh, she had to go.
Sorry.
So it reminds me of like the Kundalini rising or the snake rising up. If you look up, doesn't that kind of remind you like we're rising together?
Yes.
Like I just feel like we're going like that. I don't know how to explain this. This is just the images that are coming. If that makes any sense to anybody, please explain it to me because I don't understand it.
Fine. It doesn't need to make sense because we're not here to think with our finite mind.
I know that's the thing is that like these things make sense to me, but I can't explain them. Like they make perfect, like the things that have been shown to me and revealed to me, I understand them or I understand them, but it's not something that can be, and maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe it's not words that can be expressed.
More will be revealed. More will be revealed. And the other thing is like what happened in my awakening, and this is what I firmly believe, is that I received all the information all at one time, and ever since then I have been unpacking it.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I did. I got that huge download, and now I've just been trying to understand it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's been, and a lot of it I've forgotten, and then I'll remember it, and then I forget it, and I remember it. I forget it, I remember it, and I go through a lot of this forgetting, remembering stuff.
We're coming up to my anniversary, the anniversary of my awakening. I woke up on April 10th, 2020, and that's when everything downloaded to me, and I've been trying to unpack it ever since. So that's coming up. This next weekend is my anniversary.
Yeah, mine was right around when they stormed the Capitol. Right around that time. Yeah, like a little bit before that, and then kind of in there. So, because I remember watching that on TV.
I got banned.
I know. I was watching the TV and I was reading the newscasters' minds, and I could hear what was going to happen before it happened. And I'm watching, and I'm going,
"That's
what's
crazy."
going on? Like, and then I started watching TV, and I could hear the actors saying their lines in their head before they said them out loud, and I was going, what's going on? But I'm not doing that anymore. But when I first came online, it was like everything got ignited and sparked at the same time. And I was like, whoa, this is kind of weird. Like, so I'm glad that's not happening quite as much, but I would like I'd like to have some control over it. So we'll see. More will be revealed. There's much more to come.
There's so much more. So,
all right. Well, I appreciate it. And if you still need to talk about anything, feel free to give me a shout later.
I will.
All right. I love you. I love everybody that was here, everybody that's coming, everybody that will be here in the future, that was here in the past. I thank Delores Cannon. I thank Archangel Michael. I want to thank my dad. I want to thank my grandma. I want to thank all of our ancestors, all of our angels, all of our spirit teams. I want to thank myself. I want to thank you. And I am so grateful.
I love you. I'll see you guys later.
Great time today. All right. Love you. Bye.
Bye.